What's up FPL gaffers, welcome back to my channel for another FPL video. This video is called Thinking Ahead on Tuesdays, where I will give you the players that have risen in price, and also at the end of the video I have prepared a wildcard draft for those managers who have not used their wildcard draft. Now let me jump straight into the players that have risen in price. The first player for me who has risen in price and a well-deserved price rise is Marcos Senesi. So Senesi from 4.8 million has gone up to the price of 4.9 million. Is getting expensive very fast. Defcon monster, of course. Bournemouth usually good at defending in in Premier League matches. Do tend to keep the odd clean sheet, but Marcos Senesi, of course, Defcon monster, which is why very fast rising in price. Now the next players who have risen in price is Gabriel. No doubt after that big haul in the game against Newcastle, Gabriel has risen in price from 6.1 million to 6.2 million. I see why the price rise. It is because a lot of people have used their wildcards, and also because he did get that big haul. Also, usually Gabriel is very strong at getting the minutes in that Arsenal team. He does usually get all 90 minutes, the first name on that Arsenal team sheet. Of course, they are playing West Ham next. Fixtures are getting pretty good for Arsenal, so a lot of FPL managers are getting him in, which is why the price is rising quite high and fast. So Gabriel rising from 6.1 to 6.2 million. Next player to rise in price, another price rise for Antoine Semenyo. So Semenyo in 6 game weeks has gone up from 7 million to 7.8 million. It is now getting to a point where we have to make decisions on which players are essential for our teams, which players we really need, which players we don't, so we can catch these price rises or avoid them in our FPL teams. Of course, not much can be said about Semenyo. Did return in the previous game week, hence 7.8. I think worth it for Semenyo to rise in price. The other player that has again risen in price, again the fixtures are getting, I wouldn't say getting better, but all right. I wouldn't say the best fixtures either. But Moises Caicedo has gone up in price from 5.6 million to 5.7 million. Chelsea, the fixtures next is Liverpool. So Caicedo usually is a midfielder where you can say he will get those Defcon points. Unfortunately, in that Brighton match did not get the Defcon points, but has now risen in price. Of course, I think it's more importantly because people have played their wildcards and included Moises Caicedo in their teams. The next player then to rise in price, again a very fair rise in price, Mark Gahey. Where did I get that from? I think too much thinking about Chelsea. It is Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace. I own him in my team. Good value for me. He is gone up from 4.7 million to 4.8 million. One thing now, guys, it is important to think about which teams' defenders we want, which teams' defenders are likely to return, so we can now make those decisions based on the prices, on whether we want to include them in our team or exclude them from our team. And next player to then rise in price is Alexander Isak. Again, because Hugo Ekitike was suspended in the last match, Isak's minutes looked good for the previous game against Crystal Palace. I think again a lot of managers have got him in. Isak might start a lot of matches from now on, especially after the chance given by Hugo Ekitike himself, which is why he has risen in price from 10.5 million to 10.6 million, putting us FPL managers in a bit of a dilemma whether we want to get Isak or stick to Ekitike or even go elsewhere with our forwards option. Another price rise for Erling Haaland. So I from the time have got Erling Haaland in have got two price rises. So Erling Haaland from 14.3 million has now gone to 14.4 million, and I am liking it. He is in my team. I think a lot of you FPL managers also have Erling Haaland in your team. It was the right decision in the end to go with Erling Haaland, drop Salah for a couple of game weeks. Also, we've seen that Watkins has returned finally. Gerard Bowen also being in the talks now. So Erling Haaland has risen in price. These two players like Watkins and Gerard Bowen will start getting price rises. So it is going to be difficult. We've got to make those choices early and think about whether we want to go for these players or just stay away from them for the time being. The next player to rise in price is Tijani Reinders, and he is gone up from 5.7 million to 5.8 million. Again, a lot of you who have used your wildcard, I suppose, the reason for Tijani Reinders rising in price is that wildcard or free hit, or a lot of people have brought Tijani Reinders in. So he has again gone up in price, looking to be very secure in that Man City team. Again, like I say, apart from the goalkeeper, Guardiola, and Erling Haaland, I would avoid Pep Roule. You never know when that benching could come, so I would stay away from the rest of the Man City players. If it's not Donnarumma, if it's not Guardiola, or if it's not Erling Haaland, I would actually stay away from any other Man City players. But you lot have believed in Tijani Reinders. He has risen in price, and from 5.7 he is now 5.8 million. Whether he's worth the price rise or whether he's worth the same price, we will know in the future, but he has for the moment risen in price. A player now worth considering is Wilson Isidore from Sunderland. He has gone up from 5.5. This is his first price rise from Sunderland, of course, from 5.5 million to 5.6 million. It is worth keeping an eye if you want to go for someone like maybe Haaland and Isaac. Then you might want a cheaper option in Isidore in your lineup. So Isidore also now rising in price from 5.5 million to 5.6 million. And the final player to rise in price again is Mickey van der Ven from 4.7 million. He is in my FPL team at the moment, from 4.7 million up to 4.8 million. Of course, Spurs almost lost to Wolves in their home match the previous game week, but Mickey van der Ven coming with the price rise. And that is all for the price rises, guys. I have now prepared a wildcard draft for those lucky managers who have not used their wildcards, have saved it for a good day. Game week 7, I think, is a decent time where you can use your wildcard. If not game week 7, game week 8 is another opportunity for you to use your wildcard. And if you were to use your wildcard during that time, I think a decent wildcard for me would look like this. I have dropped the idea of going with Donnarumma. I'm looking to now double up on the Arsenal defense, which is why I have gone with Raya in goal. Of course, you could go with Donnarumma. You could even now go with Nick Pope. The fixtures for Newcastle are starting to get better. He did prove his worth against Arsenal in that match, although they lost. Unfortunate that Newcastle lost. Didn't deserve probably that loss because of Nick Pope, the saves that he made. But Nick Pope is someone you could also look at for the almost the same price in goal. But if I were to wildcard, of course I have not hit that wildcard button. I have played my triple captain just in the last game week about 3 days ago. So I am hoping to play my wildcard soon after the international break, just in case any of the players come injured in my team or anything needs to be fixed in my team. I would play the wildcard after game week 8. As usual, in the wildcard, I've gone with Martin Dubravka. Again, a 4 million goalkeeper. Good, very handy goalkeeper to have on your bench. Rotates well when the fixtures get tough for Arsenal. In defense, I have stuck with Mark Gehi. Again, Gehi is a pick that I have stuck with from the start of FPL. He's been in my team from game week 1. I don't think I want to ever transfer Mark Gehi out, at least for the season. There are rumors that he was meant to go to Liverpool. That didn't happen, but Mark Gehi is still at Crystal Palace. Either comes out with those DEFCON points or a goal or even assists with those headers from corners. So Mark Gehi stays in this team, is playing Everton away. A good pick in your squad if you were to wildcard this game week. Next pick is Senesi. Has risen in price like I said earlier. So Senesi does make the squad. Better to get him in now. DEFCON monster. Bournemouth do tend to keep the odd clean sheet, so add the odd clean sheet with the DEFCON points, and then sometimes an assist or a goal from Senesi can give you a very big monster haul. So Senesi does make it into this team, and alongside Senesi, I have added a second Arsenal defender in Gabriel. This is purely not reactional. Gabriel is someone who is on the Arsenal team sheet, the first one, so which is why he's been added into this wildcard draft. I made a mistake. I should have gone with Gabriel. Should have gone with my gut. Taken Gabriel from game week 1. I thought I'll bring him in with my free transfer somewhere after game week 5, where Arsenal's fixtures get better. Didn't do that. Made silly decisions. Went without Gabriel. Missed his monster haul. Could have risen in my ranks even higher than where I am now, but it's not the end of FPL. Still a lot more to play for. Gabriel playing West Ham at home. Of course, we have seen West Ham concede goals from corners, so this might be Gabriel's chance for a second monster haul, which is why I have included him in this wildcard draft. Now, this might come to you as a surprise, but because Newcastle's fixtures are getting better, I have added Dan Burn into this team purely because of the height, a big threat in the opponent's box. Of course, it has the capabilities of hitting those DEFCON points. This could also be Fabian Schär or someone like Trippier. You can take a punt on Trippier now that Livramento is injured. But it could also be someone like Schär for you. If you want to take that punt, you guys can use Fabian Schär or Trippier in that position. My next pick is another DEFCON monster. Does tend to get the odd clean sheet. Is playing for Everton, and it is Tarkowski. Of course, playing Crystal Palace at home. Not ideal to have two of your same players playing against each other, but these are players that get you the DEFCON points, could get you the odd goal, the odd assist, or the odd clean sheet as well, but they are worth having in your team because they can rotate well in your squad. Also, if you haven't used your bench boost, I think this is a team I would be very comfortable using my bench boost with. Now, going to the midfield, I have added in Ismail Assar. He has been injured for a while, so playing Everton away, of course, not ideal to have to start Tarkowski if you have an attacker from Crystal Palace, but you never know what can happen in a football match. I have added in Ismail Assar. You can either bench Ismail Assar or bench Tarkowski. Even in the further game weeks when they're not playing against each other, bench boost your wildcard team. The next pick is Iliman Ndiaye, playing again Crystal Palace at home. This could also be your free hit team, but if it was your free hit team, I wouldn't include 4 players playing against each other. But if it is your wildcard draft, like I say, it is your only opportunity up until game week 20 to use another wildcard draft and change your whole team again. So I have gone with Iliman Ndiaye playing Crystal Palace at home. Of course, didn't get any returns against the match against West Ham, but he is most likely now on penalties for Everton. did not return, but has the capabilities of returning for that price point. Hence why he makes it into my wildcard draft. My next pick might come as a big surprise to you, but this is a player who has gone down in price, but we has been massively been underlooked by us FPL managers, and it is Yankuba Minte. Yankuba Minte, from the eye test, from what I see, I think is quite a worthy punt to have in your team, which is why I have included him in this wildcard draft. The fixtures are getting better for Brighton, is playing Wolves away. Of course, we know what Wolves can do. So I have included Yankuba Minte in this squad just to have him in the squad. He is performing quite well, I must say. We saw the match against City and Tottenham. He was quite lively. I would be willing to add him if I was wildcarding in this game week. My next pick is Moises Caicedo. Not much to say. Of course, Chelsea went down to 10 men in the last two games. Did not get the DEFCON points. So I'm hoping Chelsea up their game, stop getting those red cards. Caicedo can play his game, get those DEFCON points, add the odd goal that we saw he can add to his game, and which is why I have still kept Moises Caicedo in my wildcard draft. The last midfielder in my wildcard draft, you just cannot go without. He is increasing in price, as I mentioned in the earlier slide. It is Antoine Semenyo. Now at 7.8 million, is getting expensive very fast. If you do not have him, please do get him in your team. I would at this point say he is essential. If you do not get him in your team, he is damaging your rank every game week that you do not have him in your team. So Antoine Semenyo, playing Fulham at home, must have in your team. If you do not have him, please do get him in your team. Now, my attacking lineup or my attacking picks might surprise you a bit. Of course, I've gone with Gyökeres, but this also could be Ollie Watkins after seeing that goal. It might be too early to say Ollie Watkins, especially because just last week I said it might be a permanent buy to him, but he proved me wrong. I should have had a little more patience with him. He did prove me wrong, went and scored against Fulham, and here I am. I was with basically Richarlison blanking and Ollie Watkins scoring a goal. I have added Gyökeres to this FPL draft or FPL wildcard draft, I must say. It is only because to have that cover, because a lot of you FPL managers already own Gyökeres. It might be a risk to not go without him. If you are playing for rank, he might damage your rank at some point. So I have added Gyökeres. Again, playing West Ham at home, you can expect to give Gyökeres a chance or two to see how he performs in these games. If he doesn't, then you can choose to either transfer him out with your free transfers or just give him some more time to adjust to the Premier League. I know the returns have not been that great for someone. Arsenal have paid a lot of money to be their main man and score goals frequently, but I would give Gyökeres a chance. It's only his first few matches, his first season basically in the Premier League. Give him a chance and we'll see where this takes Arsenal. The next pick goes without saying, Erling Haaland. Almost everyone should have him, unless you're a Salah fan, unless you're a Liverpool fan. You have that emotional attachment. Even if emotional attachment, I would say leave emotional attachment if you're playing for rank. Get rid of Salah for the next few fixtures. You can then choose to get Salah back in the future, but as of now, get rid of Salah, get Haaland in, worthy captain for the next few game weeks, and then you can think about owning both Erling Haaland and Mohamed Salah in your team. The third and final pick for this wildcard draft might surprise you, but I started FPL with this player, didn't have patience with him because West Ham weren't performing well under Graham Potter, but Jared Bowen certainly makes this wildcard draft. He has started picking up the goals now, and at 7.7 million, he started at 8 million but has dropped about zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4 million, which is why it is making it viable to get to Jared Bowen. Is almost the same price as João Pedro, maybe 0.1 million less expensive than João Pedro, but Jared Bowen, I think, is starting to pick up the goals. He will do well under new manager Nuno, which is why I have added Jared Bowen into this wildcard draft. This is all for the wildcard draft today, guys. I have run this team through Fantasy Football Hub, and when I do so, it did give me a team rating of 95% and a predicted points of 63.7%. That is all for today, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share to as many FPL gaffers as you can, and hopefully I will see you with another video tomorrow. Before I leave you, a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed, who have been sharing my content, and thank you to those new subscribers who have just joined. Welcome to the channel, and I will see you again for another FPL video tomorrow. Peace.